Our guest is Tiffany Pham. We're so excited all the time to talk to Tiffany. She is the founder and CEO of Mogul, a worldwide platform on mogul.com. Her latest book is called Girl Mogul, Dream It, Do It, Change the World. Tiffany, welcome to the show.
Hi, Bill. Thanks so much for having me.
It's so exciting. And as people remember you from the last time you had your book out, You Are a Mogul. Now we're so excited to find out about your new book and to see it right in print. I have it before me, Girl Mogul. Let's tell people a little bit about your new book and perhaps how it applies to the real estate professionals that are out there listening.
Yeah, absolutely. Super excited to share more regarding Girl Mogul. So the book is one that I've been writing for several years now, and it delves into my whole entire life and career and all the lessons I learned and the mistakes I made along the way. And I think it'll be super applicable to the real estate professionals listening today. It is all about awakening that confidence inside you, believing you can do the impossible, and the ways in which to tactically do so, awakening your awesomeness and feeling good and scheduling your way to less stress and success and learning that mindset of it's okay if you fail, you can still succeed so long as you're learning, you're succeeding. And so it delves into that kind of mindset initially, only to then move you towards the action steps. How do you build a community around you? How do you build momentum around you through the people you surround yourself with? How do you find those people? How do you rise above and now start to ultimately contact your role models to collaborate with you and create incredible partnerships for momentum, for sales? And then ultimately, then how to build beyond that for back to your personal life, how to build upon the momentum you've built with your collaborations with mentors by then bringing it back to now your passions and your why. What are you trying to achieve at the end of the day? And then throughout that, crushing it and over-delivering, learning how to over-deliver in everything that you do, and then gain financial wealth through that and learning how to find your place in the world in this way. So it's an amazing book, I think, that will really highlight not only, again, my own lessons and mistakes that I've made in order to teach audiences more about these aspects of confidence and community and commitment and taking ideas and putting it into action and achieving incredible success in this way. But it also shares the lessons and mistakes of my friends as well. Ariana Huffington to Susie Orman to gold Olympic medalist Nastia Liukin and many more. So I am hopeful everyone will learn so much in this book.
Again, the book is Girl Mogul. Tiffany Pham, the CEO and founder of Mogul, and I'm holding the book in my hand right now. And I want to tell people it's called Girl Mogul, but I am reading the book and the success principles, the things in the book, the content applies to everybody. For example, there's part 1 is about confidence. Part 2 is about the community. 3, commitment. And as you said, one of the key elements is over-delivering. So for real estate professionals or anybody else, when we do something to some level, I think we could always do a little bit better. And I think it's important to aspire to that extra level. And that's what you're talking about in part of the book here is over-delivering, doing it really, really well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really important to focus on over-delivering in anything that you do. I remember a friend of mine, Marissa, had an internship, I remember, with a politician. She was helping on his campaign. And the other interns were all working on various tasks. And then one day, one of the members of the campaign, a very high-up individual within the campaign, said, well, right now what we need to do is staple these thousands of papers together and ensure that they get mailed out by tomorrow. And all the interns groaned, except for Marissa. And Marissa instead was super enthusiastic. She was like, yes, we're going to do this. We're going to roll up our sleeves. We're going to staple every single piece of paper together. We're going to staple all these thousands and mail them out, and it'll be awesome. And then as a result of that over-delivery, because she was so passionate and excited to learn, even with the most mundane tasks possible, she left an impression. She left an impression that then got her promoted and promoted and promoted until then she had risen to the top. So I remembered that story back when I was younger, when Marissa first told me that story, and I applied it to myself as well. I started to realize that I wanted to over-deliver in every single mundane task, no matter how mundane. I wanted to learn. I wanted to collaborate. And so for that reason, I wanted every mundane task possible from my role models, from my mentors. I would ask them, give it to me. Just give it to me, the most mundane task of all. I'll do it. And as a result, then I would get promoted, and I would become that person's protege. And soon I would then be working on all of their ventures and projects. And then they would introduce me to the next person, the next big role model. And then I would rise up again to the top. So that happened time and again. And I so encourage every single person listening today to think about the various little things that they could be doing, that they could be over delivering on, that then will get them rising up to the top. If they put every ounce of energy into ensuring every single time that's really good, then that's inevitable, the rise to the top.
Mindset is so important. And when we describe the real estate community right here in Houston, the fourth largest city, I forget the number, but I think it's 35,000 people are licensed realtors, and certainly not all of them are practicing or successful. However, there are a lot of successful real estate people right here in Houston, and there's a lot of competition. And I think in any field with competition, that over delivery, striving for excellence is so important. That's how you rise above the competition.
Absolutely. That over delivery, that mindset is super important. And, there's so many ways in which I've learned this. I just described doing so by learning from my mentors and doing this by telling them that they could give me any mundane task possible and I'll do it. But I first learned this actually when I was in high school. It can start as early as when you're a teenager. For all those that have daughters as well, sons, it's important to share this mindset with yourself, but also with those around you. It can help everyone around you, your family, your loved ones, to encourage them in this way. I learned this in high school because of a young woman named Diane. She sat in front of me, and she, in even the smallest of things, would always try to over-deliver. I remember that she had this math homework. She would always get hundreds on it. I would know because I was the one grading them. Because our teacher was a bit tired and didn't want to grade high school papers, so as a result, he would make us trade it. And then we would trade papers and we'd grade each other's papers. And I was always getting a 93. She was always getting 100. I started to see that 100 every single time was possible. It was always possible to over-deliver on every single thing. If I just put a little bit more energy into it, it could happen. Why settle for a 93 if I was going to put 50 minutes into the homework every day? Why not put in 60 minutes, just 10 minutes more of energy, of focus, of attention, and all of a sudden it could get to the 100. So whether it's time or more focus, more attention, it's all leading back to the same thing, over-delivering, and it's worth it at the end of the day. Because then with every little thing, it adds up to the bigger things, and that's how you rise up to the top.
That's so inspiring. Also, let's tell people if they haven't been to onmogul.com, let's tell them what they'll find there and the tremendous resource of this worldwide platform that, started as just a simple idea, but you went forth and executed this plan. It took you a while, a lot of dedication, and now you have millions of people on this platform, onmogul.com, every week around the world.
Thank you. Yes, it was just a little idea at the beginning. I had this idea when I was 14 years old. I had this idea that I would follow in my grandmother's footsteps, as I promised her the day that she passed away, that I would work to provide others in need with opportunities and information, just as she had throughout her life and career. And so when I had the idea, I didn't know how I would get there, but I knew that it would entail over time probably me creating a company one day to ultimately help others in need, such as women worldwide, providing them with information and opportunities. Along the way, I sought out every single job possible, every side hustle possible in order to learn the skill sets to create that company one day. And ultimately, that led me to one day be written about in different magazines and newspapers when all of a sudden, as a result, it led to hundreds of letters, inbound, emails, letters, messages from young women all around the world asking for more help and advice, asking how they could get the same jobs and side hustles I'd gotten too. So then I ended up thinking, well, I don't have money to hire engineers to create this idea that I've had since I was 14, but maybe I could teach myself how to code. And so after all of my jobs were done for the day, and at this time I was working at CBS, I was working as one of their youngest executives at the company. I was also working at nights with the Vice Mayor of Beijing, creating a venture together that could bridge cultural gaps between U.S. and China. becoming global head of marketing of this venture. Even further into the nights, I was producing feature films and documentaries with A-list talent in Hollywood. And it all worked out because of the various time zones. But as you can imagine, it occupied my whole entire day. And yet at 3 a.m. when I was done with everything, I was so excited because that was my favorite time of the night. I would clear the kitchen table and teach myself Ruby on Rails, how to code, and then ultimately it led, after a couple of weeks, to the first version of Mogul, which was a very, very ugly basic version of it, but it had all the basic functionalities that you see of it today. And then I sent it out to the thousands of young women now following me online and writing me letters, and we ended up exploding to 1 million people within our first week, becoming one of the fastest growing platforms for women ever. And now fast forward to today, to answer your question, Bill, we are now the largest female millennial platform worldwide, reaching so many incredible women all around the world, as we have now become not only the largest but fastest growing platform, enabling them all around the world to reach their goals, realize their full potential in every way possible that they can engage with us through our app, through our mobile web platform, through our social channels, email channels, through our books, You Are Mogul and Girl Mogul, through our events, including Mogul X, which is our annual conference, now the third largest women's conference in the U.S., so they can engage with us every single way in this way. At our core, though, we're actually not a B2C company. We provide all these resources for free. Ultimately, we're actually, though, a B2B software company. We provide talent acquisition software to companies. We provide webinars for learning and development to companies as well, and other employee engagement resources that help in personal professional growth for employees inside a company. So we grew a sustainable recurring revenue stream in this way that would empower our users even more so, because it would reinforce our mission. And ultimately, all this leads back towards global good, since for every dollar that we earn, we provide back free educational resources to girls and women in need through the United Nations and other international partners that we've partnered with in order to bring back free educational resources to the 62 million girls and women around the world who would lack free educational resources otherwise, because of who they are, because of their gender, because they're prevented by their societies from attending schools.
On mogul.com, we're talking with Tiffany Pham, author of the new book called Girl Mogul. Tiffany, let's just go back just a second. When we talk about ambition, this is a case study in ambition, going back to when you put this together with your work schedule. I was doing the math. I don't know how many hours were left for sleep. When you were in that mode, what did you sleep, 2-3 hours?
I have to admit that I wasn't sacrificing family. I had family coming here and living with me and helping me and supporting me. I even have family all around still in New York. And I wasn't sacrificing friends, since a lot of my dearest friends and collaborators actually ended up joining the Mogul team thereafter. I wasn't sacrificing much else in terms of career, of course, and work, that being the main focus throughout the day, of course. But therefore, what I was sacrificing, and there will always, I suppose, be a bit of a sacrifice as you work to provide yourself with a strong work-life integration or balance. For me, that sacrifice was sleep. Sleep in that I slept probably close to 4 to 5 hours each day, and that was probably an overestimation, I have to admit. Yet, however, what's an awesome thing to get to say is that it may be the case for you for the first year and a half as it was for me. I remember actually for about 17 months exactly is how long it took for me to then get to a phase whereby I could sleep more. But the first 17 months, I remember not sleeping much, maybe just a handful of hours per night. But I was so passionate. I would just jump out of bed every single day, so excited to get to work. I couldn't help it. I just wanted to get up all the time and get to work right away. It was so amazing. And then eventually, 17 months into Mogul, and then all of a sudden we had reached that kind of stability that you dream of. And all of a sudden I was sleeping, 5 to 6 hours per day. And that's where I am today, 5 to 6 hours years later. But, and I think in another couple of years, it's very possible I could get to 6 to 7 hours. But it's still all about the excitement and the passion every single day.
Well, that is so true. Excitement does drive and overcome some of the challenges. Let's tell people, though, physically, I mean, I've never asked you this question before, but I now think about it. What are you doing for energy? Is there anything that you stay away from as far as food goes, or is there any energy supplement you're taking that helps you stay healthy and energetic?
Yes, so absolutely. So I definitely think everybody should sleep a lot. Definitely know that that is my weakness, and I need to sleep a lot more. And I will be doing so, and you should as well. Everyone should sleep as much as it can, as much as they can, and the body needs. For me, I have to admit, it's probably though genetic that I have a lot of energy despite this little sleep. My parents themselves, in their 60s, close to now 70s now, are so energetic on just the same amount of sleep as well. So I think for me, it is genetic that I can sleep and thrive and be super energetic. And everyone tells me how much energy I have compared to how little sleep I get. And so that's a fortunate aspect, I have to admit. However, I do keep very healthy. I exercise every single day. I was an athlete growing up. So in Texas, I played lacrosse. I was a Taekwondo black belt. And throughout the rest of my life, I was always running and now actually dance every single day. So every single day I go to a dance studio and have this incredible experience where I'm dancing hip hop with like some of the best trainers and alongside me some of the best dancers in the city. So it's really wonderful to just have a routine and find something that works for you. I know that as an athlete, I was used to team sports as a way to motivate myself to exercise and be healthy and fit. But then, of course, as you grow into an adult and a work professional, it can be harder to find a team sport to motivate you. So instead, something that ended up being funner for me, that was still individual, now that I was no longer able to be a part of a team, was dance. So for those who are in that same situation, look into, again, the different types of activities. I searched around a lot. Could be CrossFit, could be Soul Cycle. I definitely did Soul Cycle for some time. Could be Flywheel, could be Peloton, it could be dance. So I definitely encourage it, though. Every single day, it gets you into a great mindset. Every morning, 7 a.m. for me. And then I go on with the rest of my day.
And Tiffany, we'll say the last few minutes for real estate professionals, one thing comes to mind is it's so competitive. Every field, certainly right here in Houston for the real estate professional. But what are the things when you think about real estate, even in New York City, and in your life, the things that you think are important for realtors to hear? And of course, all the success principles in the book, Girl Mogul, certainly apply. The new book, Tiffany Pham, pick it up, Girl Mogul. Even if you're a guy, I say get it. But what else should people know in that real estate mode, if you will?
Yeah. Well, Bill, you've been mentioning a lot of competition out there, mentioning over 35,000 in Houston alone. And the way in which you're going to stand out is by building a brand. The way in which you're going to build your brand as an individual professional is ultimately by breathing and living your brand. So think about what you stand for. What are your values? What do you want to be remembered for amongst the 35,000? Is there something that you stand for that is different than the others? Do you believe in providing others with a comfortable homes? Do you believe in providing others with luxury homes? Do you believe in providing immigrants with housing? Do you believe in whatever it is you believe in? Try to build it into your brand messaging, your brand design, and how you are as a person, your behavior. 360. It belongs to you, and ultimately, you will be remembered for it as a result, and that will become your differentiator, and that will enable you to beat the competition. So what do you stand for? What are your values? Think about your why, your purpose. That will help you, again, to then start to implement the right messaging to then build that purpose, your why, your passion, your brand. With your design, with your messaging, then you'll be able to feed that out into the world externally, but also keep it inside you as well internally, as that then becomes part of your everyday behavior, how you operate. For example, I use the example of comfortable homes. If that becomes your purpose, your passion, your why, for the brand you want to build, and then work backwards to have designs that are all about comfortableness and being able to provide comfort to others. Same thing on the design side, message side, messaging about comfort and finding ways in which to provide others with comfort. And then, most excitingly, find ways to then replicate that 360. So finding a way to implement comfort throughout the whole entire experience for someone as they work with you as their real estate professional. Like, can you provide them comfort in every part of their experience with you? From the first time that they meet with you, the way you smile at them, the way in which you greet them, the way in which you keep them in touch with updates. Find a way to implement that throughout every part of the experience, and that will become, again, the brand that differentiates you, that lets you win over the competition.
That is a great word, and I know people are motivated right now listening to you, and I want to tell people they have the opportunity to see you right here in Houston, Texas, April 18th. That is a Thursday. It's called No Limits. It's a conference put on by the Greater Houston Women's Chamber of Commerce right here in Houston. You could meet Tiffany April 18th. That's a Thursday. It's an all-day event, and we're excited. I'm going to be there, Tiffany. I'm going to be looking for you. One last word, and let's tell people the coordinates if they want to learn more about your website or anything else.
Absolutely. I hope you all follow us at Mogul, where we are at On Mogul on most platforms and social channels, at ONMOGUL, or else you can find me, Tiffany Pham, at TIFF, Tiff T Pham. And ultimately, you can also, of course, find us on our app and our mobile web platforms as well at onmogul.com, www.onmogul.com, or else search us Mogul on the App Store. We'll actually be soft launching the latest version of our app on April 1st. So it'll be amongst the first ever in the world to get it. And then it'll be publicly rolled out to the world May 1st. So be sure to download it soon, and it'll be super helpful. I can't wait for you to try it. And that's how you can find us.
That sounds so awesome. Thank you again, Tiffany Pham. Ladies and gentlemen, pick up the book, Girl Mogul, and her previous book, You Are a Mogul. And you are terrific, Tiffany. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks so much, Bill.